What's going on, bench warmers? This week is my turn for the college football top 10. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a whole lot of college football on my screen, but I have enough to give you this list. So I'm going to do my best I can to get you the best top 10 that I possibly can. It's definitely probably not better than Jimmy's, but then again, Jimmy had Kentucky in his top 5, and look what happened to them. So you never know. So we can see how we'll see how this one goes. So for my first one, I got number 10, Oregon Ducks. Look, the Pac-12 has been god-awful. They have been terrible, and Oregon had one shining moment against Ohio State, and that's it. They don't have a whole lot else going on for them, so it should be interesting to see what else they're going to do for the rest of the season, but they're going to need a lot to happen if the Pac-12 is going to have any chance be in the top 4. At number 9, I got Ole Miss, my favorite quarterback in college football, Matt Corral and Lane Kiffin. They had a battle this week. They had a lot closer game. Obviously, Tennessee 2 weeks ago as well. Ole Miss for me just doesn't do it for me. They got talent, but they're not the top echelon, of the SEC, obviously. But they could be a heartbreaker eventually. Their only loss coming to Alabama should give them a little bit of more hope, because they could end up possibly seeing Alabama again down the road. You never know. So if they win out, they could easily squeeze in this top 5. But right now, I got them at number 9. Number 8, here's the big shocker on my list. I have Michigan State. Michigan State, to me, hasn't done shit. They haven't done anything. They haven't beaten anybody, and now they have Murder's Row coming up. You got Michigan this week. You got Penn State coming up. You got of course you got Ohio State as well. You got all the big dogs coming up. Michigan State is undefeated, but right now I don't have them better than Iowa or Michigan, obviously Ohio State. They're just not there yet in terms of beating good teams. They beat Michigan this week. It's a completely different story, but I think Michigan State still has a while to go. Number 7, I have the other team that fell out of the top 5 2 weeks ago, which is Iowa. I think Iowa is the second most talented defense in the country, outside of obviously my number 1 team, which you'll hear in a little bit. But Iowa wins football games when they turn the ball over. And if they're not turning the ball over, it's a bad thing's going to happen. But I still think Iowa has a good chance of sneaking in this top 4. You got to win out the rest of your schedule and obviously get to the Big Ten championship. Iowa, even though you're at 7, you still got a chance here, but they're going to have to run the table. Next, at 6, I have the little brothers up north. I have the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan, to me, like I said, Michigan State, they got their Murder's Row coming up too. Michigan State, they play Penn. They play all of their good teams on schedule at the back half of the year, which is set up that way for a reason. Don't get me wrong, but I still think they have some things to prove. Michigan, obviously, a big win against Michigan State this weekend would put them in the top 5 for me, but I'm just not sold yet on this team. They have a very young quarterback still, and Jim or whatever Harbaugh it is, still doesn't know how to win at the end of the season. And that's the big question mark here for Michigan. At number 5, I have the reigning national champions, Alabama Crimson Tide. Bama, for me, look, the one loss hurts. It does. But Bama is the one of the few teams in college football where one loss doesn't kill them. Bama has a straight shot into the Final Four. The only reason why they're not in my Final Four is because I already have an SEC team in there. But I think Bama could very, very well get in the top 4 and be a national championship team still. They're relying heavily on Bryce Young. Bryce Young is a young starter. After you lose so many stars the last 2 years, it was expected for this to happen. But there's a reason why Nick Saban is called the shark tooth. One tooth pops out, another one comes back in. Bama is right back in the picture. Number 4, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State, to me, big win last week. They got a huge game this week against Penn State, which I think is going to be a statement game, in my opinion. They're going to come out and smack Penn State, and I think Ohio State will solidify as the best team in the Big Ten. Yes, they had a tough loss early in the year, but it's Purdue. Purdue always pulls one of those out of their ass every single year. Ohio State is still one of the best teams in the country, behind that great running game, which I can't think of the guy's name at the top of my head. The guy's going to be a first-round pick or in next year's draft or the following year. And Ohio State is getting back to where they should be and playing good, hard-nosed football. And I think an early loss to Oregon, which is the best team out west by far and away, it shouldn't hurt them that much. And Ohio State's the top 14 in my book. Number 3, I have the Cincinnati Bearcats. Cincinnati, this is your year. This is your chance. This is the chance to right all the it's only Power 5 schools in the top 4, blah, blah, blah. This is your chance. You should win every single game the rest of your season, and you should be solidified in this top 4. It's going to be interesting to see how Riddler and the rest of that crew over there does against the bigger teams in the playoffs. But all you got to do is take care of business. I still think this team they're not going to get to number 1, but they're going to stick around at 2 to 3 range. And I think they're going to have a date with destiny when they play my number 2 team in the college football playoff. And the number 2 team, I have Oklahoma, obviously. Obviously, the change was going to Caleb Williams, which I said a few weeks back was going to happen. And Spencer Rattler is already on the transfer portal, apparently. So I think Oklahoma with Caleb Williams is a brand new offense. Lincoln Riley has the guy he wants at the helm. The dual threat quarterback that he had in Kyler, that he had in Jalen Hurts, that he had in all those studs that they're winning Heisman's with. He has that dual threat quarterback again with Caleb Williams. And Oklahoma, I thought earlier in the season that they were going to fall somewhere. I thought they were going to lose to Texas. They almost did. And then they decided to bring in this backup quarterback, which should have been the starter from day one. And they've looked a lot better. And I think if everything should play out the way it should, we're going to have Oklahoma and Cincinnati in the college football playoff. And that's going to be straight popcorn seats. And finally, the buzzsaw that is the Georgia Bulldogs. Those Bulldogs cannot be touched. There isn't a team in the country in the SEC right now that can argue and say that they're a better team than Georgia, because they're not. Georgia is absolutely outstanding on the defense side of the ball. One of the best defensive teams we've seen in college football in a few years now. And you have an offense that is hitting its stride with JT Barrett. I mean, this team has a lot of talent and has a great chance to win it all. This Georgia team, it doesn't even matter if they win the SEC championship, in my opinion. The way they've dominated every single team, they can lose to Alabama the SEC championship for all I care about, but they'll still make the playoff. Yes, it will be tough because 2 SEC teams will be in the college football playoff again. I know a lot of people would not be very happy with that, but I think Georgia is that good, and that's why I have them at my number 1. And that's my top 10. Top 10, it's like I said, it's due to change. I think 1, 2, and 3 should be locked on everyone's boards. How 2 and 3 are seeded, you can argue there. But where the real interesting things are going to happen is where that number 4 happens. What does Ohio State do against its brothers up north? What does the Big Ten look like? Because Alabama's still waiting in the shadows. All Alabama needs is one slip up from Ohio State, and they're right back in the top 4 and right back into the playoff picture. So it could get very interesting. There's a lot of great slated games this weekend. Could be a lot of shakeup, especially in the top 10. If you're on our YouTube page already, go down, hit that subscribe button wherever it is I'm pointing at. Hit that subscribe button. Go check us out. Our new episodes drop on Wednesdays at 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, so you can check all that out there. We're on FEOTV Pod. FEOTV Pod on Instagram, Twitter. Go follow us. Our Twitter page has been popping. So you got to check in on the fun over there. Our Instagram page is slowly growing. Not as much as our Twitter, but we're getting there. So go follow us over there. If you liked my top 10, if you thought I was an idiot, if you think I don't know why the hell Bama's not in the top 4, why do I have Oklahoma over Cincinnati? Leave a comment down below. Tell me how I'm stupid, or tell me why you think this team should be in the top 4 or whatever it may be. Like the video as well. Do all that good stuff. We'll see you guys next video.